Friday afternoon at Assen, Fermin Aldeguer turns into a fast right-hander he has ridden 100 times, and a heartbeat later, he is being thrown down the gravel like a rag doll. He gets up, battered, hunched, slow, but he gets up. And for a few hours, that is the entire story. One rider, one mistake, one ugly afternoon at the office. Then Saturday morning lands, and the whole thing changes shape because the man who walked away on Friday has just been ruled unfit, a vertebra in his back fractured, his Dutch Grand Prix already over. So what really happened in that corner? And why are three of the fastest riders in this paddock all pointing at the same strip of tarmac? Here is what makes this more than a withdrawal. This is not the first time Aldeguer's own body has stopped his season in 2026. It is the second. And the cruel part is the timing, because he was finally winning the argument that he belongs at the front. The crash did not just cost him a weekend. It reopened a question Gresini thought it had closed back in the winter. Meanwhile, the sprint runs today and the Grand Prix runs tomorrow, and nobody in that garage can yet tell you, with a straight face, exactly why their rider is on a hospital bed instead of on the grid. Start with what is confirmed. On Saturday morning, before the final practice even began, MotoGP medical director Angel Chart ruled Aldeguer unfit. The diagnosis was a fractured vertebra in his upper back, the one the doctors call T7. Serious enough that he was taken to hospital for scans on his chest and his back. There is no riding through this one. There is no painkiller heroics on Sunday. He is out, and the recovery clock has not even started ticking yet. Now go back to the crash itself, because the geography matters more than it first looks. Aldeguer went down at the Duikersloot, the long, fast right-hander that riders take at well over 200 kilometers an hour. That is not a slow hairpin where you tip over and slide. That is the kind of corner where the bike spits you out at speed and the gravel does the rest. Aldeguer did not slide. He cartwheeled. He bounced through the trap while the bike kept going, and the moment he stopped moving, you could see the weekend drain out of him. And he was not the only Gresini Ducati to end up in that gravel. Minutes after Aldeguer was helped away, his Gresini teammate, Alex Marquez, crashed at the same corner. Same Duikersloot, same session, and this time the marshals threw the red flag with about 3 minutes left on the clock. 2 Gresini Ducatis, 1 corner, 1 afternoon. If you wanted a neat story, this is where you would stop, because 2 bikes from the same team going down in the same place looks a lot like a team problem, and the obvious suspect is the Gresini Ducati underneath both of them. But there is one more part of this, and it quietly dismantles the tidy version. It was not only the Gresini bikes. Jorge Martin, chasing a championship on a completely different machine, an Aprilia, went down at the exact same corner in the exact same session. Different manufacturer, different bike, different setup, same corner. Suddenly, this is not a Ducati story at all. It is a corner story, and the riders know it. Listen to how they talked about it. Jorge Martin, a man who has raced in the furnace of Sepang and Buriram, did not blame himself. He blamed the conditions. Today, Assen felt more like a volcano than a track. It was so hot, he said. When a title contender compares a Dutch racetrack to an active volcano, that is not an excuse. That is a rider telling you the asphalt had stopped behaving like asphalt. Francesco Bagnaia went further, and he is the one who turned a hot day into a mechanical warning. I think all the crashes we saw were for the temperature, Bagnaia said. Then he explained the trap. If you're behind someone, you can have a big issue with the front, he said, describing a front tyre that surrenders its grip the moment a rider follows another bike into a fast corner in that heat. Read that back against what happened. Aldeguer, Alex Marquez and Martin were all chasing laps, all following someone, all leaning on a front end that Bagnaia is telling you could not be trusted. Even Alex Marquez, who walked away with nothing worse than a bruised shoulder, described it like the machine made the decision for him. I was trying to push, and I made a mistake with the bike that threw me into the air, he said. Threw me into the air. Not lost the front, not ran wide. Thrown. And that is the uncomfortable thread running through all three crashes, because if the bike is throwing riders at that corner in that heat, then the only variable left is who lands badly and who gets lucky. And that is the real story here, the one the withdrawal note does not tell you. 3 riders went down at the Duikersloot. Alex Marquez got up with a sore shoulder. Martin slid into the grass, dodged the gravel, and went back out. Aldeguer got up with a broken vertebra and got into an ambulance. Same corner, same heat, same untrustworthy front. The only thing that separated a scare from a season-altering injury was the angle he happened to land at, and not one part of that was in his control. Now, widen the lens, because this is where it stops being one bad Friday. This is the second time in 2026 that Aldeguer's own body has shut his season down. He broke his femur in a training crash before the season even started, missed the entire winter test and the opening round in Thailand, and came back in Brazil barely healed, still on crutches in the garage. And what did he do? He clawed his way to a podium at Barcelona, a stunning second place, and dragged himself up to 9th in the championship on 76 points. The comeback was real. The speed was never the question. So the belief flip is brutal in its simplicity. People thought this was a story about whether Aldeguer is fast enough, talented enough, ready enough. It was never that. It is a story about whether his body will let the comeback happen at all. Here is where it lands. Aldeguer has spent 2026 proving the wrong thing. He keeps proving he is fast. He keeps proving he belongs. He took a podium with a leg that had barely knitted back together, and nobody in this paddock doubts the talent anymore. That argument is over. But talent was never what was at risk. What is at risk is continuity, the simple ability to line up week after week and let the results stack. Twice now, his season has been broken in half by his own body, and on Friday it happened in a corner that also tried to break 2 other riders who walked away clean. That is the thing Gresini cannot fix with a setup change or a pep talk. You cannot data log your way out of bad luck at 200 kilometers an hour in a heat wave. The cruelest version of this is simple. The faster Aldeguer gets, the harder he pushes, and the harder he pushes, the more these corners cost him when they bite. His ceiling is not the problem. His floor is. So the question is no longer whether Aldeguer is fast enough for the front. It is whether his body will ever give him a clean run at it. Is this just rotten luck, or is something about that Assen corner genuinely broken? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.